Welcome to Still Plays. This is the weekly talk. We are going to be covering my thoughts on the Arnold CG Scandal, the talks of the player protests going around, then touch into the TIE bomber and that galactic chase that was just wrapped up. And then I haven't done this video for 2 weeks, so I've got 2 weeks of gearing that I have recorded, and we'll wrap up the video with that. So anybody watching this channel is an obsessive enough player that they're already going to be familiar with this Arnold and CG scandal. From my point of view, the bigger portion of this scandal is the CG negotiating with known cheaters portion. What's particularly insane about it is CG is prioritizing a single whale over an entire community of whales and completely violating their trust and their faith in the game. So if this game were composed of only $100,000 Krakens, you would need 10,000 of them for this to be a $1 billion game. So that just gives you an idea of the scale of what is going on here. Obviously, there's way more whales and Krakens in the game than that. That simplifies it. But that shows you that CG is prioritizing a single cheater, a single whale, over an entire community of whales and Krakens that makes this game possible. And they're willing to endanger that in order to maintain one. And not only are they doing that, they are bargaining from a position of weakness with that player, begging them to stay in the game and continue spending. And when CG is taking the time to negotiate with cheaters and offer up temporary bans to them, that it becomes even more egregious when they are slamming a permanent ban onto Arnold onto one of his accounts for violating terms of service, which is a complete overreach when looking at how CG is managing cheaters. Now, it's been in the game for a while that if you are on Reddit, that you know CG has only been giving out temporary bans to players, which is already a violation of what they stated, that there was going to be permanent bans on players. This was after months to almost a year of the community saying something needed to happen with Grand Arena. And CG's solution was Grand Arena history being created and putting down the hammer with the permanent ban to any found cheater. We already knew that they were only doing temporary bans, but now we know that they are bargaining, and that just becomes completely disgusting. So we are going to move on to the possibility of a player protest, which I'm completely in favor of. As a free-to-play player, I like the idea of the 2 days or however many days of not logging in. I don't think a lot of the people throwing around dates are thinking that Grand Arena is coming up. A lot of players are going to want to sign up for Grand Arena, so the timing needs to be looked at. But at least with not logging into the game as a protest, that means free-to-play players can participate and voice their frustration. Obviously, a spending ban is going to hurt CG where their money is, but not logging in when you have data-driven games, and these are data-driven games, that is going to have a huge impact and is going to make CG know and understand the impact and outreach that a YouTuber like Arnold has. And on top of that, this scandal is not the only reason that we have to be protesting what Capital Games is doing. There has not been any content, any real content, for over a year. They have gone back on their word and previous stated offerings in this game multiple times, that being, and just off the top of my head, sandbox mode, raids, reworks. There are plenty of reasons for the community to be upset, and it's time that CG understands just how upset the player community is. So next up is the TIE bomber. What I've been saying in a lot of my recent videos is when CG offers up a galactic chase or double drops, forget the cynicism you see on Reddit or online and in other places. These are opportunities to get ahead of other players in the game who don't take these moments as seriously. So with the TIE Bomber, I farmed it up to 5 stars. It didn't take that many crystals, only up to the first 200 crystal refresh, which I did. As you can see, this footage here is with my fleet. It is pretty useless where I have the gear levels. The pilot's gear 11, most of the other, Tarkin is gear 11, most of the other pilots are gear 11, and I'm not able to get anything going with it. But who knows what is going to happen in the future. I also wonder if there's an opportunity for some Sith pilot synergy, not because the TIE Bomber itself works with Sith pilots, but because of a number of the other ships that you're going to be using, like the command shuttle, Vader. They have that synergy, that there might be a way to bring in the Sith Bomber or another ship. Also, we don't know what is going to be happening in the short and long term. We're at a point where it makes more sense to have additional fleets in Grand Arena and Territory Wars. We don't know what is coming up next that CG has been working on, so getting a little bit of a head start on working on these fleets starts making a lot more sense, just to be ahead of what may or may not be coming. The ships that I think make most sense to work on, the ancillary ships, are going to be the Gauntlet and the Command Shuttle. Those are probably the ships with pilots that are a little bit weaker for most of us. Okay, we're going to jump into this week's gearing, and then we're going to wrap up with last week's gearing. I think the topics slide will be gone for last week's gearing, so that's how you'll know the difference between the two. This week we're going to relic up 2 characters, finish off Padme, or get Padme to gear 12, and we're going to bring Wat Tambor to gear 11. We're going to start off with that. I only have 100 carbs, so there's not a lot I can do this week. But we can at least make a little bit of progress before the next round of Grand Arena, and before, or the next round of Territory Wars, but also for Grand Arena. So there goes one set of my 50 carbs. Not touching that. Watt was a nice, easy gear, not a huge deal. I'm gonna drop on these. In last week's record, which you'll see at the end of this video, I put down the Zetas and geared him up the rest of the way. Oh, I want to take the tag off of him. Now, I just want Padme done. She doesn't have much left. We can just do it. Then I can at least have her to gear 12, and I can slowly work on getting her to relics after. But I believe it's an eyeball, which I still have plenty of. Oops. And my last set of carbs. I'm fine with stun guns. I've been buying them with Get for a while. I think this is an easy one. Yeah, that's a super easy one. Another one of those, that's not a problem. That's more expensive. The rest of these aren't going to happen right now. So Padme is done for now. Now both Revan and Yoda are my closest gear 12s to relic. I'm just going to throw these pieces in. This is why I didn't want to give that piece to Padme, because I don't have too many of these. They go relatively quickly. So I am giving Darth Revan one, And then here, this piece takes a little bit of time to accumulate, but these other ones I've got a good amount of. And we have a decent amount of these, not a, alright, I gotta make more of these. I'm not gonna do these on a video. That's just gonna be too annoying. This is already not the most watchable content to begin with. So I need to make more of those on my own time. But Yoda here, I believe it's another eyeball. Oh, that's not it. This piece here is the same one that we just put on Revan, and then the eyeball here. I still have plenty of those, and they're cheap enough with crystals. And then this piece, which we have plenty of. That piece takes a while to farm. And then I'm running low on the Mark V droid collar, but this is worth it. And it's time that he gets to this level. Okay, so I think that brings us now to 14 relic characters. Nest and Django are my next priorities, but it's, now that I'm done farming the Resistance heroes, I can focus on just farming carbs, which I think is going to be my next priority, so I can get Django and Nest done. Karga here, I used the crystals when he became available in shipments to get him up to 4 stars. It's only like 2,500, 2,600 crystals. It wasn't a huge deal to buy him in the 2 sets of 16 shard purchases. And he's good. Just that little edge. I need to get him to higher gear, but that's good enough for now. Then the other side of things, in terms of the TIE bomber, like I was saying in the previous segment, I think I just went right by it. TIE bomber, I used a bunch of crystal, not even that many. I used up to the first 200 crystal refresh, and spent that first 200 crystal refresh to get TIE bomber here to 5 stars. And I was, because of the relic materials and because of shards, because I kind of split time between shard shop currency and relic materials, I felt like it was fine to spend those resources, spend those crystals, and get TIE bomber higher. I still think Y-Wing is probably a little bit better, just because that meta was more recent and that fleet is ready to go. To get this fleet going, I'm still going to need to gear up the Gauntlet pilots and the Royal Guard, which is, both of that is going to take a while longer. So I was going to gear up some of the Gear 11 characters that were on my list last week, specifically Padme and Nest. I did do Shakti to Gear 12, but I'm sick of seeing a few of these guys. I just want them off the board. I want to be done with them. Then I'm going to move forward to gearing up and strengthening the top portion of my roster. I feel like I've really fleshed out a lot of the bottom portion, except for some of these newer characters that are going to take me a little bit longer. But we're just gonna finish off Old Ben. I've been slow about it just because I don't want to give him all these Carbanis, but we're only going to bring him up to Gear 11 and maybe put a Zeta on him. Just get these out of the way, and then we can be done looking at him. Yeah, we're gonna do it. I'll hold off on that for now, and we'll save that for now. This Omega here, it's too old. I don't think it's worth putting on. Like, who cares? So he doesn't miss and does no damage, or he puts evasion down. Like with kits these days, like I don't care that the dodge is changed a little bit. But in terms of these, they're both decent. Like I have a lot of Zetas right now. I'm just feeling really antsy and I want to put one on. I've got basically all of the critical Zetas. I'm well into luxury territory, and I'm just trying to figure out which of these luxury Zetas make sense and which don't. Alright, Ahsoka, I've looked at her gear. Once I put on this stun gun, I'm clear to gear 11, so we're just going to do it. I'm sick of seeing her just sitting waiting for gear for a long time. Like, these furnaces I'd rather not, but I just want it done. I want to feel like my roster is making more progress. And these characters that have been side projects for years now, I want to just get them off the board. We can do the health. And also with Old Ben and with Ahsoka here, I'm really close on, like, once these characters are geared to 12, I'm done with their quests. I'm just going to do these Omegas. Alright, we can take her off the board. Take Old Ben. I want to do that Kylo Zeta. This is just one of those Zetas I mean, I geared him up last week, so he was never geared up where it made any sense, and now it's dated, so I delayed it, but it's still decent. Once I'm done with Sith Trooper, I need to do First Order Stormtrooper. Poe, I finished up within a day or two of the video I made last week. I hope you took advantage of the extra attempts. I hit his node hard. If it were still at 5 attempts, I would be finishing him by the end of this month, and instead I finished up before the month even started. You can take him off the board. Don't care about the damage. And now I'm going to move up into the project area. All of the characters I've been ignoring at Gear 11 that now are finally going to be promoted. So Padme needs to get to Gear 12. Jango. And Nest. Right. So I think that's going to be it for this week, but coming up soon, I will be finally strengthening the top portion of my roster instead of the bottom portion. And I'm now at a point where I can really focus on a lot of these new characters. slowly working through the resistance and first order factions and getting them all up to gear 11, and then making a decision from there if I'm going to go after either of the Galactic Legends, just kind of based on what we see and hear from CG. I was about to end the video, but now I rethought it. There's a few more things I want to get done, and I'm going to drop a bunch of Zetas. I have a ton of Zetas. I am forever away from the Galactic Legends. There's a number of these characters that are good and useful, have decent Zetas, that I have too low gear, like Hermit Yoda, but I'm going to put a Zeta on. He's still very usable at even gear 6. If you watch some of my old Grand Arena videos, you'll see me using Hermit Yoda. I'll just throw him in. I mean, he'll die, but I get to put on Master's Training and do a little bit of damage. Like, you only need to get it on one character, and he does his job. No, he's a great character, great kit. I haven't felt pressured or needed or rushed into working on him. But I mean, with this lull in the game, I'm just gonna make some progress where I can. The Omegas I will hold off on. I don't think that makes... With the stealth, I just don't think it matters. Barris is another one. She's not ready, but she's decently tanky at gear 8. Those Omegas are worthless. I'm just going to put the Omega on. Or not the Omega, put the Zeta on. And that doesn't matter. Get the little extra health. Because I've been trying to just on occasion throw her into different comps on offense, but it hasn't really been effective. It hasn't been ineffective, but I feel like just having the Zeta and then that little extra health, she'll be fine. And I can get her up to gear 9 next time. Or whenever I feel like it. And we are going to do this. Now we've just burned through a bunch of Zetas. How many? We're down to 114. Which is like my new 0 has been 120. And we're 206. Yeah. So we dropped a bunch of Zetas, we geared up these characters, and actually I'm going to go back to Hermit Yoda right now. And because he's so easy to gear, I'm just going to throw down that carb. That's the wrong Yoda. Okay. What am I short on here? Oh, these things. Furnace. I might just finish Yoda right now. bad. Labels. Yeah, we're stopping him there. Now we just need to watch CG release a bunch of information that will make me regret spending all that gear and resources. I just unlocked Wat Tambor with this latest Geo battles, and since I haven't posted my talk video yet, I am just going to add the next gear levels and his Zeta to this video. Yeah, just put that Zeta on. None of that's too bad. I can get him up to 11 next time. That's not a big ask. Alright, that's it. So, thank you for watching. This has been Still Plays. Be safe out there. Be excellent to each other. Thank you.